Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We are Baltimore Positive, positively get the show back out on the road. It is the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. We've done it in all sorts of places. So we're sort of winding down, getting ready for Memorial Day. It's perfect. We're going to be down doing the Crab Derby at his Creek this week. We'll be at the Lexington Market at Fadley's on Wednesday. I will have these scratch-offs in the Maryland Lottery, the Maryland Treasures Boardwalk. I have Blackwater. I have Assateague horses. I have Bay Bridge spans, all the good stuff going on. We'll also be at the Fishmonger's Daughter next Thursday in Catonsville. Really looking forward to that. They told me they built me a special table to do the show in the front window at Frederick Road. So I'm looking forward to that. The Fadley's family giving them lots of love as they open their new endeavor in Catonsville. This guy has endeavored to come back on the program twice this week. I haven't had him out for a crab cake. By the way, you were running around Italy, Leonard
Yes.
Raskin,
Yes, sir.
Raskin Global. My wife took a picture. I think it was in Venice. I'm not sure. But they have the same crabs that we have here, the same crabs they have in Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela, which is the blue,
Yep. Yep.
blue crab that you know in the Chesapeake Bay. Different than if a place is serving the Asian red flipper crab or whatever the hell it's called from Indonesia or China and these other places. But this is the same species of crab
Hmm.
that is now in Italy. Damie has been telling me about like how could we import them? Very hard to do with a live animal, right? Like getting them in from North Carolina or
Right.
Louisiana,
Right.
Texas. People here have been doing that since Jimmy and
Forever.
Joey over at the barn 40
Yeah,
years ago
forever.
doing shows. They would meet the Southwest Airline planes with the vats from Louisiana, from New Orleans. That's where they got a lot of their crabs. So same crabs, a little different salination, but in Italy, you didn't see any
Didn't.
of our crabs, no?
Not where we were. We weren't in the north. We were in the
Oh,
south.
all right.
Maybe they're a north
I think
thing,
they
but
might be.
yeah. Venice in
My
the
wife
north.
saw them in the market, took pictures of them. They're the same
Yeah.
crabs. Damie told me about it on the air because she went over there on a business trip looking to try
Absolutely.
to, because everybody's trying to figure out how to get more crabs, right? Like
Right.
Trump's talking about banning the international crab from coming in, which would it'd be $100 a pound. I mean, like it just would be crazy if you couldn't get
We
in
had some we
imported
had
crab.
some over the weekend, and jumbos were outstanding. They weren't cheap. But I was saying to the family on our last days in Rome, this weekend when we get home, I'm doing crabs. That's all
All
there is
right.
to it.
All
So
right.
we
Well,
did, and they were
I haven't done them
delicious.
yet, but I
They were
have a
delicious, but
dear
they
friend
were
of mine
not
hit
cheap.
me on Mother's Day, and she went over to Costas, and she's had some off the field issues that have physical health things that so being with her kids was a big deal. She wanted crabs. It was Mother's Day, like doing it. So she hit me and threw me a text, and I'm like. Somebody brought him up, Now Leonard's brought it up. You brought it up. My wife
Gotta
brought it
have it.
up. I haven't had a
Gotta have it.
crab since maybe like November, maybe October.
I hadn't had them in a while, but I said, "This is it. We're doing it," and we did. They were
Well,
delicious.
it,
Now
it
I didn't
lets us
have
know summertime's here,
didn't
though.
have the corn on the cob with it. I had to, make do with some chips. So you had a little Utz on the side instead of corn on the cob, but it was okay because the crabs are what mattered.
Yeah, I mean, crabs and beer are such a Baltimore thing, and no one else gets it anywhere else. Like,
No,
you go to Philly, you can't get it. You go to D.C., it's a little bougie, you can't
nah,
get it. Virginia, maybe down like in Newport News or like, I don't know, because they can get the crabs down there, and certainly along like those tributaries where Ted Marchibroda lived and whatnot in the Virginia area. But like, Delaware, I don't know. You got a
well, I'll
place in
tell you.
Delaware, right? They sell
Yeah, we can
crabs
get
in
them. We get
Delaware.
them in Delaware. Sure, we get
Sure.
them in Delaware. We get them from Ocean City.
I mean, I
My
wouldn't think to
my
go to Dover,
sister.
Delaware and get a dozen crabs
No,
someplace. I just wouldn't think
no,
to do
no, no,
that.
no. They're just there. My sister lives up in New Jersey near Princeton, and there's a place there. Talking about shipping them. There's a place there with a Baltimore transplant. He opened a crab place. People up there love them, and she gets them. But it's because this Baltimore dude decided he was living there. He wanted crabs, so he gets them.
There used to
And
be a place in Fort Lauderdale when the Orioles trained there back when they took over
okay,
the Yankees facility, and the
yep,
place was called Riggins, Riggins. And I knew a guy named Rich Riggins. He was my wedding photographer. We went, but unique spelling, John Riggins kind of, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Riggins Steak, not Steakhouse, Crab House, and it was in Lantana, and
okay,
Lantana is one of those towns like sort of below Boca or above Boca, but on the way to West Palm. So, I went to this guy's joint, and it turns out, I mean, if you walk in there, you would think you're in Lansdowne. You know what I mean?
right,
Like it is
right. You
so
just gotta
Baltimore.
find,
It
you gotta
smells like a
find the
crab
guy.
house, but
That's
this is in the
right.
middle of Florida. They do this. And then these people, who are these people from the Carolinas that are opening these crab boil places in Baltimore? You've seen these places pop up?
Terrible,
I mean,
terrible.
I wouldn't even walk in there. I mean, no offense,
No,
dude. I mean, if they asked me to advertise, the first thing I'd have to do is sit down and say, like
what are we
Willy
doing
Wonka, like,
here?
explain this to me. What the hell are
Yeah,
you doing? What are you
yeah.
doing
What are
this
we
to the
doing
crab
here?
for? You
What are we
know?
doing here? That's ridiculous.
Now, have you
Uh,
ever been to a crawfish boil in
yeah,
any
yeah,
way?
yeah. Oh yeah,
In like a real one in Louisiana or
yeah.
Mississippi? Like,
Absolutely.
okay.
Cracking them, sucking the stuff
What,
out.
and how'd that go for you? I've never done that thing.
It's fine. I mean, I've been to. They have steamed shrimp and they have fish and they have the crawfish and the whole.
Potatoes, right?
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
potatoes.
yeah, yeah. Corn on the cob. It's all in a vat. It looks like a vat. And it's all boiled
And they're
together.
real orange, like burnt orange looking little creatures.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you
Todd
know.
Schuler does this from Blondell Miller Schuler, my buddy, former delegate Schuler. He does this on Preakness Day every year. He invited me, but I'm going to the race this
To
week
the
with my wife,
Preakness.
and then I'm going to participate in this Maryland party out in Las Vegas for a couple of days with a bunch of folks that I know through business, which is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we do around here is try to do business. Um, have you been to the Preakness in your life?
Not a thing.
Didn't we
It's
discuss
crazy.
this?
Yeah, we did.
Like
It's
you
it's
grew up in Northwest Baltimore, like you
yes.
like right?
And for years, friends. This was when I was in, I would say, junior high, high school. Lots of neighborhood friends went, and they were the stoners and the drinkers, and they would go, with the coolers and the whole infield thing. And I was just never into slopping
I
around
never
for a
hung with the
day.
stoners in Dundalk. The stoners were a different thing in Dundalk than they were in Northwest Baltimore. Um, Most of the stoners that I grew up with wind up going to like jail and stuff.
Well, had a
But
few of those,
yeah,
but
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 like the
you know,
drinkers, that's everybody in our neighborhood. Drinking was
right,
like a badge of honor where I
right,
grew up.
sure,
Maybe one day I'll write about that. But like we piled into vehicle. If
that's
I
what
told you
happened.
the truth about the Preakness, it
It
may
it
cost me my
was
sponsorship. I mean,
right. It was
honestly,
ugly. It was ugly
Well, Bob
stuff.
Leffler would allow us to bring the Get Nasty van into
Oh,
the
geez.
infield the night before.
Okay.
So what we would do is bring all the t-shirts in the night
All right.
before. The coolers, we would meet right over here at the Popeyes at Perry Parkway,
Yep.
and we would get chicken, and we would have tickets, and we had about 4 buses and 200 tickets, and we had our own area in the
Oh,
infield.
I
They
missed
gave
it.
us they gave us one porta potty, and
That's
I would
nice.
beg to everyone, I would say to everyone at the beginning of the day, 7 in the morning, I'm meeting these drunks, more than
Yes.
stoners, definitely drunks. And we're all going to get sunburned as hell. This is
Right.
1994, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Sure.
30 years ago now,
It's
as hard as
amazing,
that
isn't
is to
it?
believe, right?
Amazing.
This is when the boobies were the thing and 98
Yeah, of
Rock and like all that.
course.
So 7 in the morning, I would say to everyone, look, folks, we have our own bathroom in a fenced in area. Use it as though your mother. We just had Mother's Day. Let's remember Mother's Day, everybody. Mother, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, hey.
And we're all young, so all of our mothers are still alive then. And it was like, hey, remember, pretend your mother's going to use it next.
Uh,
And of course,
no,
by 9:15
no.
a.m., it looks like Calcutta. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy, right?
Terrible.
I mean, it looks like
Terrible.
downtown Medellin looked
Yeah. Right.
when I was in Colombia a couple months. So yeah, I don't know what to say, but like you missed out on. I mean, not being
Yeah.
a drunk or a stoner or a fried
And
chicken eater or a beer drinker or a
and
horse.
on
I got a
on
lot of
50
memories I don't
years, right?
remember
I
from
was
those
going to say
years.
50 years of memories, no doubt that
Some
it
I don't
didn't happen.
remember. Some I
Didn't
don't
happen.
remember.
Like
Some
I
I have
said,
pictures of that I don't
I
remember.
told you I went to the Derby and was in the sky boxes where they sit, them, and was there, did that before I've done the same thing at the Preakness. So my one of my goals is when we get back to the real Preakness, the Pimlico Preakness, that I will get some tickets and I will find myself in a appropriate
Kathy,
suit.
gonna get a hat? You gonna do a hat?
Yeah,
The whole
she
thing?
had the whole thing for the Derby. She had the whole thing.
Oh, that's right. You went to the real
Yeah,
Derby.
that's what I'm saying. We went to the Derby. We
What
were in
year
the
was that?
box.
What year
It's
was
just
that?
4 years ago, right after COVID, right, 21, 2,
Man, I can't
something.
believe. Did we do a segment on that?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't
I
feel like I
I would
remember talking about this. So I've been to.
the big long shot one that year. It
Okay,
was a
okay.
big upset year.
Was it muddy or no? It
What's
was
that?
nice. Was it nice or was it muddy?
No, it was beautiful. It's a
So I've
beautiful
been to
day.
maybe like 8 or 9 or 10 derbies, more
It was
than
a beautiful
five, less
day.
than probably 10, but yeah, probably 8 or 9 or 10 like that. Definitely. Because I mean, I went several years before I knew my wife. My wife and I went to three
Yeah,
or four together. Before I knew my wife,
right?
my girlfriend Robin, who I had Greg Share on this week, and Greg's Richard Share's son. Greg does mortgages now. Greg was on BAL for a number of years. I'm sure you remember Greg.
Absolutely,
And Greg
absolutely.
Greg has been to like the last 27 Kentucky Derbies. He's a real horse guy. And as much as he'll talk Orioles and Ravens, he hated John Harbaugh. So we got into it. We did an hour-long segment today about his company and what he's doing with his life and all that. But he's such a great guy to have on this time of year because he's been to every Preakness, every Derby, backstage, his dad, media passes, putting the suit on, like betting on the horses. He's broadcast from there for years ago. So he's seen it all. He's seen Churchill grow up from where it was 30 years ago and has seen the complete deterioration of everything here on a year by year by year. Not even Dick Girardi has been going to all the races the last 15 years. So I had Greg on and I told him this story. It's the craziest thing. And I don't know, I'm just telling you this because it's a Derby Preakness thing, and I told the
Yeah,
story
yeah.
earlier. My girlfriend at the time was Robin. Anybody that knew me in that period of my life knows Robin and knew Robin. So we went to the Derby, and it was toward the end of our relationship, right? Like it was clearly we were not going to get married. I think by the next year she was in a relationship. We were both married to other people a couple
Yep,
years
yep.
later. So, but we had always talked about going to the Derby. I'd always told her about going to the Derby. Yeah, this was definitely '02. This was the '02 Derby. I can tell you
Okay.
what Derby it was because I remember the Ravens had already won the Super Bowl and like all that. And we got on to Millionaires Row. We had media credentials. I was
Yeah.
nationally syndicated at the time. I think I may have done my show. There was a big thing, right? Suits, ties, pictures, pretty hats. She's beautiful. We're both 30 years old, whatever. And we went up on the Millionaires Row, and I'm not kidding you. This is the only story I have. And this speaks to sexual assault, and this speaks
Oh
to my
no.
friends at GBMC and what we did walk a mile in their shoes, and Bill Cosby and Epstein
Oh my
Island, and
God.
like all of that. We got roofied. We got roofied on Millionaires Row,
Holy
both
hell.
of us, at like late in the day. We didn't get up there till like 4 o'clock, because before the race. And she and I woke up. I'm not kidding you. We woke up in a hot tub in our hotel room, and neither one of us has any recollection of the 6 hours
Oh
before,
my
other
God.
than these little snapshots. And it's the only time in my life. My wife said that in her youth, somebody put something in her drink one night. Luckily, she, passed out, went home, nothing awful happened, but
Right.
clearly
Right.
this is a thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Crazy.
literally, this happened amongst really, really wealthy people.
Sure.
And I saw some stuff happening at that particular party with a particular man that I'm sure was in on it. And it was very weirdly Epstein now that I look
Holy
back on it
cow.
25 years later, where there were girls that did not look like hookers. They looked like
Right.
girls.
Right.
And it was,
Well,
so like it was
they
just,
talk about the Super Bowl like, and again,
dude.
we
I've
go
never
there, but
told that story, but maybe I
that's
told it on the air
crazy.
when I got back
That's
that weekend
crazy.
because, like, at the time it's like, hey, you got roofied, it's cool. But like, no, 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 it wasn't meant for
No.
me. It wasn't meant for
No.
me. Yeah,
Right. That's
yeah,
wild.
yeah. But of all the places to have it
Right.
happen amongst like these
Right.
really wealthy people in this
Well,
really
that's
exclusive place,
probably where it happens, right? They say that
Maybe I
they
like,
say the largest child trafficking weekend is Super Bowl weekend. You'd know that as well as anybody being there so many times. I mean, It's for whatever reason these old rich men want
I've never
teenage
seen
girls.
anything. Leonard, have I seen a hooker or five at a Super Bowl?
Sure.
Maybe, but like not like on the streets of like, let's say Medellin where I was, or
Right.
Honolulu, or Vegas, or places where you
Right.
walk
Right.
around and like there, it's clearly there's a presence
Right.
in that.
Right.
I've never felt that way to Super Bowl, and I read about it before I ever went to a Super
Yeah,
Bowl
I
that
don't
it
know.
was this thing, and I've had Natasha Goines on talking about human trafficking, and she was a
Right.
victim, and she
Right.
speaks out, and the Super Bowl is this thing, and I've never, these big events are really something. Like you and I were doing bucket lists last week, and my bucket
Yeah.
list are now on to Machu Picchu, and like you've been to
Right.
Wimbledon and I
Right.
haven't, and have kind of taken it off the bucket list, where like the Australian Open would be more of a bucket list for me because I would want to go to Melbourne because I haven't been to Melbourne,
Yeah,
right?
beautiful place.
So it, but it is
You know, I'm
funny how
I'm
like
thinking you talk about go ahead. Go
you
ahead. Go
gonna do
ahead.
a World Cup game or something while it's here,
I don't
like.
think so. I'm not a fan. Doesn't matter to me, but I am thinking, seriously thinking of some Rio football.
Oh, you're gonna go.
I'm thinking Rio football.
Let's talk about this because the schedules come. This is great on
It's
the
coming
schedule.
out
The
this
schedule's coming
week,
out.
right?
So, I've been to Rio. What do you want to
I've
know?
not. I've not. And
Do you have any Jones to do it, or any, or just
I'm
your?
just I'm just thinking, hey, the Ravens are going to be there. I wouldn't just it's not a place that I'm like, hey, I want to go to Rio. But Ravens are going to be there playing football. There's trips going down. Not a Nestor trip, of course, but there's other trips going down. The pricing seems reasonable.
It's an
Uh,
inexpensive place to go. I just spent 15 days in South
right,
America, so
right.
yeah.
So
There's a
and
reason
so
I
it's
chose that, and my wife chose Italy. I
there
looked
you
at
go.
Italy and said, "Take your father. Don't take
Right,
me. It's going to
right.
cost that much money. Spend that with your dad and your
There you
sister,
go.
and go do that thing. That's that thing, and let them have
Yeah,
their memory." And speaking of bucket list things and things that we do,
right, right.
it's like
So
there are
I
things at
said to
this point we get
Kathy,
to choose what we do, right?
that's
Like,
right, that's
yeah.
right. We always talk about what money can do, the American dream, and what it can do is it can give you choices. You don't have to do something, but if you'd like to, you have some options. And I said, okay, let's look at what it'll be to go down. And my first ever trip to London, now four times, was to watch the Ravens get destroyed by the Jags. So, you know, why not make my first trip to South America? Opportunity to see the Ravens, hopefully, kick some cowboy butt. What the heck?
I had a great experience in
It
Brazil,
seems
but
like a good time of year, also.
well, it's
Late
six.
September.
Yeah, it's going to be spring there.
Right,
Yes,
right. So it
yes.
won't be too crazy hot, and it won't be crazy cold, of course. And it'll just be a lovely, maybe make it a week.
So I would say to you, if you're going to do something like that, and this is
Yeah,
just my travel because I've been to
yeah,
these
absolutely.
places. I would not spend a week in Rio. I would see a few other places. I would not go that far in the world and not go to Buenos Aires, and I would not go that far in the world. I loved Montevideo. That doesn't mean you would love
Yeah,
Montevideo, but the other place to go in that part of the world would be Patagonia for the islands and for the fjords. But also, if you're into wine,
yeah, you go.
the Argentina, the Mendoza region, which my clone was pushing me toward Mendoza versus Machu Picchu because
Yeah,
Machu Picchu's physical. Machu
right.
Picchu's 11,000 feet. Machu Picchu, like as a 57-year-old healthy
You
guy,
got to
my
get
clone
there.
was even saying like, hey, slow it down. But if you're going to that part of the world, having been to every place I've named other than Patagonia and Mendoza, I would tell you if you're going to Rio, if you can physically make it to Machu Picchu, go because you're there,
Yeah,
you're in that
yeah,
part of the world. And I would go to Buenos Aires. I would tell you and I've been to Sao Paulo. I've heard Recife is unbelievably beautiful. I'm thinking of chasing Rush around. Rush is
oh,
playing
there you
about
go.
five cities in
Yep, yep.
Brazil in January, which is summer.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about hitting the beaches. Now they're not playing Recife, which is up more toward the north, toward the equator. But I would tell you, like a week, Rio's. Can I say this out loud as a guy that just got back from Cartagena
Sure.
and from Santiago? Rio's dodgy, dog.
Really?
Yeah, like running a trip to Rio for me, I would be really worried about who's on my trip and where they're going and their passport. So here's my Brazil story.
Huh.
Jen and I were so afraid or intimidated to go to Rio that we weren't going to go. It was 2006 on New Year's Eve. We were at the bar at Tommy's Mexican restaurant with my dear friend Julio Bermejo in San Francisco. And I said to Julio, we really want to go to this Rolling Stones concert on the beach in Rio, but we're kind of
Wow.
intimidated by Rio and crime and gringo and not speaking Portuguese and like,
Right.
and Julio's like, I'll go with you. I know people there. So we're
Hmm.
like, so we went with Julio. And there's a magic story about Julio that's a longer one that we
Yeah.
lost each other.
Oh boy.
We kissed goodbye in Rio. He said he was thinking of meeting us in Sao Paulo for the U2 concert. We said goodbye. We had no text. It's
Right.
2006.
Right. Sure.
We had international phones that didn't work in like a hotel room. Here's my number. Here's my name. He
Right.
checked into our hotel in Sao Paulo, wound up at the concert. We told the concierge at the hotel we would meet him at the nurses station at a stadium that seats 160,000 people,
Yeah.
the Stadio Nacional in Sao Paulo. And we ran into him in Sao Paulo. In 160,000 people.
Right.
But we
Right.
went down to Rio and Copacabana Beach. We saw the Stones because he went with us. We stayed in a very nice hotel on the
Yep.
beach.
Yep.
We did it upright. But dude, it's
Sketchy, huh?
I would just Google it.
No,
You know,
I'm with you.
it's a
I hear
great
you.
place for 3 days. I would find 4 to 7 other days to
Oh,
do other parts of Brazil. I would,
yeah.
I wouldn't do the Amazon with shots and like
Yeah.
you don't want
No.
to be you don't want to be a
No. None of
tourist.
that.
Anywhere where piranhas are, you don't want to be a tourist.
No, I'm with you there.
Watch it on HD,
Yeah.
get it on National Geographic, but
Right. Not my
Machu
thing.
Picchu, five thumbs up, and I only have 2 thumbs, and I'm missing a pointer finger. I would say Buenos Aires is one of those places that like I just think it's one of the great cities of the world. But I would say in that part of the world, don't do a week
Yeah.
in Rio.
Well,
And
there
I
you
would,
go.
if I ran a trip, if I said to Jen, "Hey, we can make a lot of money. Let's run Ravens fans down to Rio because we're pretty good at running trips, Leonard."
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would say man, people running wild down there with Raven shit on, like not being aware that they're completely standing out and being targeted as like gringo America, like not a good thing. I mean,
Hmm.
so my Brazil experience was we booked it all and we booked into Sao Paulo and we booked into Buenos Aires with
Yep.
like on American Airlines
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
years 20 years ago we did this and we were seeing the Stones in Rio and the Stones in Buenos Aires and we saw U2 in Sao Paulo. It all happened the same week. There's a picture of the leader of Brazil on his balcony in Sao Paulo with Mick and Bono at the same
Ah,
time
that's
because they
great.
were, they were at the Four Seasons and
Big promotion,
dude,
sure.
there was SWAT team 24/7
Oh,
around
geez.
their Four Seasons in Buenos
Holy
Aires.
cow.
Like it's a serious operation. They played on the beach for free for 2 million people. So when
Hmm.
you go down with the Ravens, and I have no doubt that you're going, by the way, I got a really good Brazilian barbecue joint to send you to
Yay.
on Copacabana. So it's legendary. We went there, and you should go there because it's great. and you should go to Rio because it's great. You should do
Yeah.
Copacabana.
Yeah.
Go, but like do a couple of other things, dude. You know what I mean? I'm glad we're
Yeah.
talking
I'm
about
with
this out
you.
loud so I can give other people advice. I mean, Medellin's lovely. I would tell you that, if you're looking for another place to in and out that's more north than south, stop in Medellin. To go to Aruba, do something, along that
Sure.
line
Sure.
on the way down or back. But I don't think you need 7 days in Rio. That's my opinion.
There we go.
That's my opinion.
I hear
So,
you.
so when we went in '06, we booked it all.
Yep.
And about a week before, Jen got a wild hair about the internet and visas because we were thinking you might need shots because Brazil, because of
Right. Right.
Amazon, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And back in the day, dude, we were not going to be allowed on the plane. We did not have Brazilian
Oh,
visas.
jeez. Just had the
So
passport.
we literally, I don't know what we would have done if we lived in Topeka. We
Right. Drove to
literally
DC.
drove to the consulate
Right.
in like not in downtown DC, like in a
No.
neighborhood.
Right.
And we had to go to this big house in this Brazilian house. We had to literally give them our passports and walk away and come back 2 days later to have it all like fudged up.
Right.
So when I booked this South American trip like 3 months ago, the first thing I asked my clone is, dude, do I need a visa
Right. What
to
do I
go?
need to get
What
in?
do I need to do to make
That's
this
right.
happen? So I don't
That's
know what
right.
the law is in Brazil, but so if you're asking tour operator who's taken over 10,000 Ravens fans all over the
Yep.
place,
Yep.
like including you to London,
Absolutely.
like I would say,
And to Tampa.
just check into Brazil. It's a little funky
Yes,
monkey.
sir.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
But go,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
go.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's not a place I would just say, I'm going there. But the fact that the boys are playing the boys, the birds and the boys, I said, you know what? I might do it. It's the end of September. We got nothing happening. The boys are going to be in St. Louis, off to university again.
There ain't no football
So,
in St. Louis. I don't know if you know or not. There ain't no
no,
football
it's
there anymore.
unbelievable, huh?
I had Viviano on Friday.
There's hockey and baseball. Hockey and baseball.
Well, I had
That's
Viviano on. He's a St. Louis guy.
okay.
So, we
Is
talked
that
about
born and
losing
bred
teachers.
or?
Oh, yeah. His family's the whole.
I had no
He is
idea.
Mr. St. Louis.
Had no idea.
I busted out. You know how I play my goofy little games with my belt buckles. I wore this
Yep.
belt buckle for him to Planet Fitness in Timonium the other day. And he's like, I had that belt buckle when I was a kid.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah. So, so you're going to do this trip. Good for you. I stand in applause that Leonard Raskin's going to go to Brazil with an S.
I think there's just no doubt that it's a good time of year. Again, not on the big list, but with the Ravens playing there, be a reason to go and see this other part of America, this other part of the world. And why not? Take a few days and head down and do a thing. So
I highly encourage that behavior. How about that? But
I'm
I
with you.
hope I've just talked you into going to Machu Picchu
do
or
something
going to
else.
Buenos Aires or going to Medellin and checking out some other places because it would be unfortunate to travel to that destination and not stack on 2 or 3 other, especially for a guy like you that just did Italy. You know what I mean?
I don't even know how far it is. How long is the flight? What's it all about?
It's probably a 10. Probably a 9 or a 10.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably
I didn't
a 10.
realize that. I didn't realize it was all that. Wow, that's a haul too.
It's in the other hemisphere, Leonard.
I know, dude. That's a haul.
It's down there. Leonard Raskin is here. Tell me what you do. Manage money so people can do things like have me tell silly stories about Mick Jagger shaking his ass on the beach. And by the way, I'm just thinking before you go, all I hear is like Lena Horne singing "The Girl from Ipanema." So like we ate lunch on Ipanema Beach, and then you can go to then you can do like the total Barry Manilow, huh?
Oh,
At the Copacabana.
That's
So
it.
you want to stay on the Copacabana when you're there.
Why
the
not?
best spot north of Havana here.
That's what they say.
But it's actually south
It's
of Havana.
south, right? I think it's south.
Tell everybody about
think
the
you messed
money
up.
you manage so I can let you get back to managing
That's it. We handle money. We handle making sure that you save properly, that you have enough liquidity to make good decisions and not go into debt when you're prepared to do things or need things. Once you save it, the question is make sure you protect it. We make sure beneficiaries are lined up, that everything about your money is in order. So if something happens, nothing tragic happens to your money. We make sure once you're protected that you can grow it. That is correctly investing it, understanding the science of investing. There is science to investing. It's not just throw a dart, pick a stock, and hope. So we make sure your money is invested properly. Then we help you enjoy it. We talk about ways to put your money in a position to enjoy your wealth. And then ultimately, Ness, none of us are getting out of here alive. So we got to make sure that when you pass it on, it goes to who you want, how you want, efficiently at that point in time. And that's our world, is making sure those things happen so that you can do the things you want while you're alive, not worry about your money, but let your money work for you and enjoy the things that it can provide.
There you go.
That's
There's
what it's
my
all
wife
about.
on Copacabana
There you go.
Beach there in
Lovely.
2006. at I was just looking at my Facebook here. There's my wife at the Rio show with Charlie Watts and all the Brazilian
Ah,
stuff, jamming on the beach in Rio. There we are, overlooking what the heck is that? It's called Sugarloaf Mountain. I think it's called
awesome.
Sugarloaf. And
Awesome.
there we are up top. As you can see, that was about 40 pounds ago. So,
In
yeah, 20 years and 40
a
pounds ago.
day or so.
Leonard Raskin is
You and me,
here.
buddy.
He
You and me.
manages money. He is Raskin Global. Hey, man, the whole schedule be out by the time we get together next
Yes,
week.
indeed. Beautiful.
We will follow the American dream all the way to Copacabana.
Amen.
I'm going to
Amen.
sing Barry Manilow everything. Now that I know you're going,
Oh,
it's over
jeez.
with, man. We're going to have a hard time. Back for more. We are Baltimore Positive. Stay with us.